Today, we're going to uncover 3 simple secrets to tame one of the biggest and most overlooked energy hogs on the entire planet.
So, let me ask you a question. What's the biggest energy user you've probably never even thought about? I'll give you a hint. It's not your lights, and it's not your car.
Yep, it's the boiler. This thirsty energy giant is hiding in plain sight in pretty much all of our big buildings.
And believe me, when I say thirsty, I am not kidding. These things consume absolutely massive amounts of fuel to heat our world, everything from offices to factories.
But here's the good news. What if I told you there are 3 simple secrets we can use to make them hyper-efficient? Well, let's get into it. All right, secret number 1 is all about perfecting the mix. You know, just like baking a cake. Getting the recipe exactly right is everything.
Now, there's a fancy engineering term for this. It's called stoichiometric combustion. But really, just think of it as the Goldilocks recipe for burning fuel. It's that perfect, exact chemical mix of fuel and air that gets you the most possible heat. Not too much, not too little, just right.
Take a look at this chart. See that peak right there in the middle? That's the sweet spot, the most efficient burn. If you have too little air, you get a bunch of unburnt fuel just wasted up the chimney. But if you have too much air, you're basically just heating up that air for no reason and sending it outside, which cools everything down. Either way, you're just throwing energy away.
Okay, ready for secret number 2? It's actually something your doctor would probably approve of. Keep it clean. You know how plaque can build up in an artery? Well, a similar thing happens inside a boiler's tubes. This gunk, called scale, builds up and acts like an insulator. That forces the boiler to burn way more fuel just to get the same amount of heat into the water. It's working so much harder than it has to.
And check this out. It doesn't take much to make a huge difference. Just 1.6 millimeters of scale, we're talking thinner than a coin, can waste nearly 4% of your fuel. That adds up incredibly fast.
And that brings us to our final secret, and this one is all about being smart. I'm talking about recycling lost heat.
So think about this for a second. An incredible amount of the heat a boiler makes, it doesn't even get used. It just escapes right up the chimney. That is literally like watching cash just fly out of your building.
So how do you stop it? Well, with this really clever device called an economizer. It's basically a heat exchanger that sits in the exhaust pipe. It grabs all that escaping heat and uses it to pre-warm the cold water going into the boiler. That means the boiler doesn't have to work as hard right from the get-go.
And you know, here's the best part about all this. We're not talking about massive, expensive overhauls. We're talking about small tweaks that have a truly huge impact.
I mean, just look at this real-world example. By adding that economizer we just talked about, a boiler's efficiency shot up from under 77% to over 80%. That's a massive leap in performance from one simple change.
It all comes down to this. A more efficient boiler burns less fuel to get the same amount of heat. And that's a direct win for your wallet and a really big win for the planet.
So what's the one thing to remember from all this? It's that by perfecting the fuel mix, keeping the whole system clean, and recycling that lost heat, you can make a massive difference. Because when it comes to energy, small, smart improvements always lead to big savings.
Hey, if you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to subscribe for more simple explanations of complex energy topics. Thanks for watching.